Hello, a very good morning to you, ladies and gentlemen, from wherever you're watching us. This is Herman Manyora's YouTube channel. My name is Evan Sokinya. I'm glad that you're here with us for this conversation. Welcome to another episode of the Candid Talk. Well, I'm joined by Professor Herman Manyora all the way from Luambei. Sir, how are you?
Wonderful.
How is your
I'll
day?
soon be hosting Jad in Luambei for recordings under the famous mango tree next week,
So
inshallah. Yes.
You'll be doing productions down there.
Yes.
So that we are at least experience the ambience and the serene environment of Luambei village. But some people do say that area is a little bit remote.
No problem. That's where I was born. How can I run away from my home because it's remote? What makes it remote?
Okay.
From here, if I take a flight and it takes off from Wilson or from Jomo Kenyatta, within less than an hour I'll be in the house. So how can that be remote?
Okay. And of course, I understand that the Prime Cabinet Secretary has negotiated for construction of roads down there. So
we
you're
don't
good
need
to
those
go.
ones. We already have our roads. Anyway, let's continue.
Well, we're waiting for that Luambei trip. Now, Prof, the hustler narrative is still going on. And of course, I listened to the president speak yesterday to that round table interview organized by journalists from across the media houses in this country. I listened to him keenly, and so many times, a number of times as he tried answering questions, he would refer back to his issue of talking about the people down there, talking about the hustlers, and even the when addressing the issues that are pertaining to the housing scheme that is now come up with that actually requires those who are employed in the civil service and even elsewhere to part with the 3% of the salary. He said that he's providing jobs for a million of Kenyans who are down there. And people are asking, really, do you think that the president will continue holding this narrative till the very end? Because it's the same narrative that brought him to power, and he still continues castigating it, despite the fact that other people think that perhaps it's a misplaced narrative that will not take him anywhere.
Well, he has a point, but it's not a very strong point. Yes. Which jobs are you providing? Nani anataka kazi ya mjengo?
But he said,
even hustlers don't want a mjengo job. You do it as a very, very extreme last resort. Yeah. Secondly, and you don't sell me the idea, there will be people kuchomelea chuma. The moment, let us assume this thing took off. I know sometimes Kenyans, sometimes I don't know, tuko na shida. Assuming the dream of a 250,000 houses per year is realized. So actually that in the house, in one given year, there are 250,000 housing units being constructed. What will it do? That's why there will be no job. Quickly, the Chinese will come in and they'll use panels. When that tower, the towers you see at the University of Nairobi were constructed, behind my office, the Chinese had put up their base. Where they were staying and where material was being offloaded from Mombasa. Let me tell you, for that building in University of Nairobi, there is almost nothing that was locally available. I challenge anybody because I saw it. Chuma inatoka China. Hakuna ati kukoroga mawe. They are panels and they are coming from China. Building using panels. And even if those panels will be constructed here, they will be factory made. Even the steel that you will use, if you have such a magnitude, construction at that magnitude, the steel structure, the steels you'll be using, windows and what have you, will be produced using modern technology in the factory. Kuwekelea tu. So there's nothing. Don't talk about jobs. There are no jobs there. No.
So you think that the president is lying to the country by
lying,
saying
he doesn't understand.
He's
not lying.
The entire house
doesn't understand.
Yesterday we were saying that it's a whole organization of people working there, those who are selling to those at the construction sites, those engineers and plumbers.
I'm telling you, if you are putting up 2,000 units, yes. And in which case, that can provide serious employment. Not the numbers he's mentioning about. By the time housing under this affordable housing program, by the time that program is able to provide jobs to 1 million people, like he says, the economies of scale will have come in, technology will have already set in, and the material that will be used will not be labor intensive. They will not require labor. They will be using panels. Are you getting what? The cement being used will come from China for quickly joining those panels. Very nice kind of cement. The metals to be used, they will come from China. I will see them in Mombasa. Madirisha zitatoka Mombasa. Inakuwa zinashuka Mombasa kwa meli, tukiona hayo madirisha na milango bwana zikienda kwa hizi manyumba. There's already a market for the Chinese. Forget, there's no job that will be created by that. It's a lie. I don't blame the president. He doesn't understand. If you are able to construct 250,000 units under the affordable housing, that is a very attractive business opportunity to the Chinese. They will bring panels so that you don't need stones, you don't use sand, you don't use your cement, you don't need labor to join panels. The Chinese will come to do it. The moment you have such a huge project of 250 houses per year, a short year, 250,000 houses, they will bring ready-made windows, they will bring ready-made doors, everything will come from China. So which jobs is the president talking about? It cannot. First of all, they will not construct those houses. And in the unlikely event, they were able to. If China are selling fish here, how can we stop them from selling windows and doors?
So
I no longer want to eat fish because you eat fish, sometimes you hear it's plastic, China. In Kisumu, there's Chinese fish in Kisumu. If the Chinese can sell us fish, you tell me you'll construct 250,000 houses in a year and they fail to bring windows and doors here. They'll bring.
So where do you think the president...
Let's stop the Chinese from selling fish. Then I will be convinced in this affordable housing, they will not bring windows, ready-made, and doors.
Why do you think where do you think the president really struggles to explain this to the common Mwananchi until it reaches that point that he now like makes it happen as if it's our patriotic role and duty to ensure that we contribute in order to help those who are down there?
First of all, we have agreed many times, this project cannot deliver houses to the hustlers. A person who earns 15,000, 20,000, 30,000 cannot save enough to get even the cheapest house. Let the president agree with me and you that if the houses that have been constructed is anything to go by, there isn't one below 1 million shillings. The hustler cannot buy through that saving. So who are you helping? The people who might get those houses can get their own houses anyway. So you see what I'm saying? Yeah.
But now look at the language, how he packages this thing, how he defends it, still taking
there are reasons. Maybe there are reasons. Some people are saying maybe they want a pool from which they can be borrowing. Ready money when you want to borrow money. Pop.
Can you buy that?
It's possible. It's possible, but I don't know whether that's the reason. But there must be a reason that I'm not seeing. There must be something I'm not seeing. It doesn't make sense. There are better ways of housing people. You can make sure even the people in Kibra get houses. Not free. They buy them.
Does it therefore,
under tenant purchase.
Does it therefore mean that there is no reprieve still for the common Mwananchi now that the president calls the hustlers? Of course, that is his fan base right now.
Pardon?
Does it mean that there is no relief for the hustlers? As
There's
you
no
say,
relief for the hustler. But ole wake, bana hustler. Ole wake. Hustler na shida Kenya hii. Na ulimwengu mzima mahasla wanakuanga na shida tu. Sijui walikosea Mungu nini.
And you think that perhaps being taken for a ride?
But leaders always take the populace for a ride. It's not in Kenya, it's everywhere. All political leaders climb to power on the backs of small people. Yeah, but they never look back to help them.
Because
it's a global
you know, right now, look at the reasoning of the president, and it's like everything he says that those who are against this kind of scheme do not actually want those people who are down there at the bottom of the pyramid to benefit. Something that you've disagreed with here. But then now, look at it. How is he able to come up with solutions, viable solutions for that matter, that would perhaps help the common Mwananchi come up? Because already there was what we called Hustler Fund that was introduced, and of course Hustler Fund has been there. I wonder what the impact.
Which impact? When you give somebody 500 shillings, what can he do with 5? You know, okay, please don't keep taking me back there. But allow this to be the last time I'm talking about this. If you have chosen as a country, the path you want to pursue is the path of mediocrity. Is a path that will ensure we don't make any progress. We run in circles. People die of simple treatable diseases like diarrhea, with high child mortality rate. People living in slums and dwellings that are not even fit for animals. If you have chosen to make Kenya remain a poor, dirty third world country, continue behaving in this manner. Just continue doing it. Things that don't make sense. You know what? And every time you do something as a country, it must make sense. It must be a product of serious thinking. Okay? People must think through an issue. Think about it. From consumption. And say, no, this one in the 21st century, no. If we want to get people houses, which is the way? Is it 3%? The answer is no. There are better ways of getting people houses. Just in Nairobi, provide land and give a few conditions and give the amenities, services. You'll see wonders. Kenyans are an enterprising lot. Kenyans, when it comes to enterprise, if government gave land somewhere in Nairobi where you can put up maybe 100,000 units and people are invited that this is where you are, there is sewage, there is electricity, there are roads, there's everything. You will not sell, we are not selling this to you. Mushikane watu 5 mjenge gorofa ya nyumba kadhaa. Mushikane watu 10 nini. And the rent will be this, you will not charge over. You will have more houses than you need in Nairobi within for 10 years. Just provide land and the amenities. So the work of the government will be provide land, free, give roads and services there, electricity, power, lines and everything. And then the people come in and you are told, we are not selling this land to you. But as soon as the tenants come in, we will charge you 1,000 shillings, 2,000 shillings per month for the next 10 years. So that we recover the money we used to do the services, provide the services of roads, sewage lines and what have you, okay? Just 2,000 shillings per unit or 5,000 or 1,000. But land is free, go ahead. Drawings are already there. You are not going to spend any money on drawings. Engineers, government engineers are there to assist you. Just invest your money. So 10 people wanashikana. Kenyans, 10 people kushikana. Kujenga ghorofa moja kwenda juu. Na umepewa land bure. The government has provided services, there are schools around there, what have you. The government will spend zero. The money it spends on services, providing those services, servicing the plots, will come back once the tenants occupy those houses. Those who put up the houses begin to give government like 2,000 or 1,000 per unit. In 10 years, the government has recovered more money than it spent servicing the plots.
Of course, I don't want to get into the nitty-gritties of that, but then still looking at the common man, because I was actually trying to retrace and retrace perhaps the hustler narrative and where it's leading this country with all those projects. But because at the end of the day, anytime that the president comes out to speak to people, then it's always focusing on the people down there. But then his actions tell us otherwise. I wonder what he has to say about that as well. But now I just mentioned something to do with the hustler fund somewhere back then. You quickly dismissed it, and initially you said that it wouldn't help anyway, it wouldn't materialize. Right now I've not even had wind of it anywhere. And
what were you expecting to hear?
I was expecting to hear
that some people have hustlers have now put up supermarkets from that fund. that is a fuliza, government fuliza. I fuliza even myself. Fuliza, you want to buy lunch, your phone has 0 on M-Pesa. You fuliza, you buy lunch. That's what the government was giving people. It was not a business fund. No.
So
a small fuliza.
Has it helped?
Okay.
Has it helped at the end of the day?
How can it help? How can it help? What was it? It was not meant to help in the first place. It was just populist. It was just political hot air. Now that we have this vocabulary of hot air. And the government knows it. It's just political hot air. It was nothing. It's not a business model. It's a political thing. And as a political thing, it works. This money, even if it's not refunded, people will have to. The government will add more money. As we approach 2027, government will pump so much money in the hustler fund, everybody will just be laughing. You apply to 10,000 imeingia, 5,000 imeingia, even if you have not paid, even if you have defaulted. As a political tool, yes, but not a business model. Yes.
Of course, the same narrative is now appearing right now when we're looking at the housing scheme that we're talking about here. Definitely, he's saying that those who are against it do not want the common Mwananchi to have houses.
I want to be told how
you have mortgages, but you do not want others to have.
I have a socialist orientation. Circumstances force me to appear to be a man who looks for money and loves money. Circumstances. But inside me, I'm a wired socialist. Inside me. So I would love anything that benefits the common people. I'll give my life for people to live Kibra and stay decent lives. If I'm told, Manyora, all we need for people to live Kibra and Kawangware and live decent places, all we need is your life, I'll give it. That's how bad it is for me. I'll give it. I'll say, take my life. If it remove people from Guaro, from Korogosho, they live like human beings and not animals, and all they require is my life, then take it.
Does it therefore mean that it will take the president almost his entire energy to identify with those who are at the bottom of the pyramid throughout this period for him to sustain perhaps his leadership till the next
There are just
election?
one or two ways of helping the people at the bottom. When people get money, what do they spend it on? Especially poor people. What areas would you want to help them? Give people free medical care. Quality health care. Free. Abana give it to NHIF. And I've called NHIF a fraud. People have always attacked me for that. Now where is it? I hear it's broke. Not NHIF is a fraud. The money government spends on health today is enough to provide free. You walk in, walk out. So give people that. People spend money on education. This country, given its state of economic development, socio-economic development, we require education to move forward, and the Kenyans cannot afford it. Give people free quality education. Then come up with comprehensive policies on housing, on transport, on urban development. I am telling you, when you are through with that, the country will be moving towards the first world status. So that you spur economic growth because of the health of the nation, because of education, and then you pursue policies that promote investment. Policies so that do not stand in the way of a person trying to open a small business. The number of licenses, you wonder, even today in the 21st century. If you have a van, we are trying to have a van, if we did well, we are there in Nairobi review, you'll pay like 50,000 here.
Okay.
And if you think that's all, if I'm going with you to the court from Lombei, you pass Kiambu County, wanakusimamisha, you have to pay. Umeandika Nairobi review kwa gari. By the time you reach Kisumu, Kakamega, Vihiga, you have... So, you pursue those policies for economic growth. Now, because the economy will be doing well, you pay people well. That's the only way you can help people, small people.
So far, so good.
Because money will be available to people. Because every time you pay one person in this country, and that's why I want the president to understand, please, Mr. President, leave the pay slip of the teacher or of the civil servant alone. Because every time you pay a salary to a Kenyan, he supports more than 20 other people who are not his family members. Yeah.
So far, so good. Looking at the actions of the current regime, is there anything that has convinced you that perhaps the government has lived to its spirit of a hustler nation as it was brought by him?
Nothing. Nothing.
Well, ladies
if you want to help hustlers, just start by giving people free education. Free education. And we can afford it. The amount of money I am laughing. I'm laughing this new university funding model. Government is removing, pushing university funding from 44 billion to 82 billion. Claps for the government. But then the whole arrangement of people are still paying fees, who is needy, that money is enough to give free education at the university. Just with a little more extra, maybe 20, 30 billion. Everybody will just walk to university and read. Ukichoka unaenda nyumbani, ukishinda unaenda kufanya mjengo. Is on the new affordable housing scheme. This government, it's not only this government. Most governments behave in a very strange way.
Ladies and gentlemen, remember our team is still on the ground, keeping track of everything taking place in this country and bringing you up to date with analysis of pertinent issues taking place in this country and of course facing our country here and abroad. Stay tuned to some of our programs that will be coming up next. Jadil Kabiro here, and of course Richard Mwenja will be also coming up with comprehensive analysis of everything taking place in the country. Till we have this conversation again, have yourself a lovely day. My name is Evans Okinyi.